This is the Russian Dynamite, Masha Slamovich.
Becca here.
This is Not America's Sweetheart, Davian. And
It's Billy Starks. And
the super fly guy, Trayvon Jordan.
This is the fly side flyer, Jalen Brandon.
Hardcore Princess, Jules Malone.
Hi there, this is the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole.
This is the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christy Jane.
This is the baddest black belt, Chennai Kai.
This is Kid Bandit.
The smash hit Joel Bateman.
This is Robin Renegade.
Cody Hawk.
Brutal Bob Evans. And you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
This is Shawn Donavan, the one and only messiah of old school in the world of professional wrestling, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to the show with Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today, interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I'm, of course, your host, James J., alongside Scooter Dust.
Greetings, Wrestling with fans. 1 year older, a little bit wiser, definitely a lot more grayer.
And it's a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with the Messiah, Shawn Donavan.
That's a very amazing yet interesting introduction, so thank you.
We like to do it big here on Wrestling With.
Yes.
Alrighty, let's get started.
Yes, could you tell us what you got coming up next, event-wise?
Yeah, so event-wise in the tri-state area, I will be in action for WrestlePro this upcoming September 9th, and then all throughout the month I'll be featured on various events for WrestlePro, for independent superstars of professional wrestling, as well as standalone wrestling and a few others around the tri-state area. So follow my social media pages, Twitter and Instagram at Shawn Donavan01 and just Shawn Donavan on Facebook. So give a like, follow, I'll follow you back, and check out what's going on in my world.
And you got merchandise?
Absolutely, yeah. You can go to prowrestlingtees.com/Shawn Donavan. I've got a whole host of merchandise on there.
Alright, and all of those links will be in the description of the video below, both on YouTube and Castbox. So you could just simply click the link and you will be there.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
So let's get into it. I mean, you wrestled a who's who of professional wrestling. And one name that really stuck out to me was Su Yung. And, you know, one of the last really true gimmicks of pro wrestling right now. So what was that experience like wrestling Su?
I can tell you it was very anxiety-ridden, just due to her presence, but also very unique in being able to wrestle somebody like Su Yung. It knows what she's doing in there, a very odd style, and it works for her. So, you know, I think her personality and style versus my personality and style was a very clash of styles altogether. But I thought we made some fun magic inside the ring for that one night only.
I was going to say, it was maybe class of styles, but it worked so well in the end.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, a lot of times when you have two different styles, you know, some may clash and still can turn out some gems. And, you know, that's kind of what ended up being what Su Yung and I did.
Right, because you just kind of called her out while she was at the lunch table.
Yeah, just a very different style and a very different way of engaging the crowd into a match that is very different, and something that you don't see, and it helps the whole event stand out by getting something different with each match.
Oh, for sure. Scooter, you have a question.
Yes, and we really love it when there is a personal connection between one of us and our guests.
Mhm.
And Shawn, you and I have a very common denominator
Mhm.
in Pat Buck.
Yep.
Pat Buck trained me with the NYWC. And that's another thing I'm going to ask about in just a second. Now, I know Pat in a certain way, but I would like to hear about your experience working with Pat.
Yeah, my experience has been very unique in a way because Pat was the one individual that kind of gave me a new home that I was looking for after being in a different home for, many years. And, Pat, what I liked about Pat was he didn't just say, okay, by letting me kind of walk through his doors. Um, I had some help from some people that vouched for me. So even though they did, Pat gave me an opportunity to come into his school and kind of reinvent myself. And, I value Pat's opinion and feedback on matches and putting matches together because he has such a unique mind for the sport. And now that he's worked, in the two biggest companies in the country, the amount of knowledge that he continues to soak in, I would love to pick his brain every opportunity. But, Pat's been a leader for me in terms of what I was missing for many years on the independents was, direction and, guidance and what, you're looking for. So, I absolutely love being under that learning tree with Pat, and anytime he's, readily available for advice, I'm going to be willing to listen.
All right. And
If I could just have a follow-up to that. You
Yeah.
said that you kind of reinvented yourself under Pat Buck. Was that something you were kind of looking for at that time, or was that something that kind of got brought on because it was a breath of fresh air being in this new environment?
No, I was looking for a complete change and a complete overhaul in myself, and being around some different minds at the Creative Pro, Wrestle Pro, brand. They gave me some of that honest feedback in terms of what direction I wanted to go in and what they thought of it from the outside looking in. And all of that feedback continued to help me evolve the persona to what it is now. And, now that I understand the persona a lot more, it's, where do I evolve next?
All right. Continue, Studo.
And also, you gotta admit, Pat Buck's suit game is on point. Every time I see that man on TV, he is wearing the most stylish suits.
I'm a man that fancies suits, and I have an affinity for button-down shirts and shoes. And if I thought my game was on point, Pat just takes it to a whole other level.
All right. Now, I just want to mention this. My nephew, who's also James and I co-host on our other podcast, the Remix, Ryan Dust. He is going to train with Creative Pro. It's close to where he lives. He works now for VPW, but you have really been all over the tri-state area. And now I'm coming back to where I was trained. One promotion that doesn't seem to be at least listed on your cage match database is the NYWC, the New York Wrestling Connection, Mikey Whipwreck. And I apologize if this is too personal. Is there a reason, or is it just been not the right set of circumstances or opportunity?
I would say it's definitely the latter. Just have never been able to have a schedule lined up to be available to work for NYWC. A lot of times I'm booking my calendars well in advance, and sometimes, when places are continuing to reach out, it's kind of, hey, I'm already booked here. I can't turn that down. So it's partly been, those dates don't line up, but it's also partly been just not the right time for me to be there. I've definitely been to many of the events up there in Long Island, and I've spoken to the right people. It just hasn't been the right fit, I guess. So, and I understand that from a performer standpoint and a promoter standpoint, that if the promoter's looking at specific talent, it could be that just that talent just doesn't fit their style of their event or what they're looking for. So, no harm, no foul on my end. It just, no pun intended, that connection just hasn't happened. I hope it will eventually, because I would love to work with them.
All right. And if you, when you do, I'm going to be there in the crowd.
Fantastic. Awesome.
James.
Keeping on the topic of promotions, you worked for CCW, one of, those companies that a lot of people strive for. So could you tell us about your experience and relationship with CCW?
I'm trying to think. Who is CCW?
CZW? Combat Zone, James?
Yeah. CZW.
Oh, CZW. And what was the question there?
Could you tell us about your experience being at that company? Working for that company?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't there for very long. I did only a handful of shows when they were doing the Dojo Wars at the time. They were located, close to South Jersey, Philadelphia area. But I only did a handful of those shows. I really enjoyed the matches. I enjoyed the intimacy of the crowd being very up close, and even though it was a small venue, it just had a really cool vibe for pro wrestling. So would have enjoyed to do more with them prior in the past. Just never happened that way. So again, just kind of moving on with the different areas and different places to work.
Oh, Scooter.
Now, staying on the topic of promotions, you started out in the IWF, correct?
That is correct. Out of what was considered West Paterson, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm. Now, your time in the IWF is a cavalcade of highlights for any independent talent, but a year-long reign as champion in an independent promotion is a rarity, even these days. But not only that, you were a dual champion, I believe, at the same time. You held nearly every title in the IWF, and you for a number of years, it seems like you wrestled exclusively for them, which again is a rarity. So this is a two-parter. Would you say your reign as IWF heavyweight champion is one of the more significant title reigns of your career? And aside from them giving you your start, what made the IWF so compelling that you practically competed for them exclusively for years?
Yeah, I mean, definitely to answer the first question, being able to represent the company that basically kickstarted my career and gave me my foundation from day one was and always will be a very special career highlight for me because it took me 5 years to work my way up the ladder there to become champion there and again represent that brand which at the time held a lot of clout and held a lot of weight on the tri-state independence. To answer your second question, the way in which I was trained at IWF really translated into the matches and the crowds that we would draw. And I think what made my run there special and wanting to do, pretty much exclusively work there was due to wanting to grow the brand as big as I could help it grow and kind of give back. That company gave me the opportunity to become a professional wrestler. I want to pay it forward. Within those time frames, I did do work with some other independents, on and off through connections with IWF and then through connections with other individuals. So, I was mainly exclusive to IWF, but I was still doing a few other, independent promotions here and there. But mainly wanted to really grow that brand, and I really thought that we had a really special, talented crew there that were putting on incredible matches night after night.
Ah, all right. Now, James.
Yes, you wrestled Andrade on Monday Night Raw. Could you tell us about that experience and what was you able to kind of take in that moment?
Yeah, the experience was pretty surreal. I as most independent professional wrestlers do when they, if they're smart enough when they are, offered the opportunity to do extra work, is just being versatile and being ready and willing to do what's needed. There could be times where nothing is needed of the extras, and then there are times where everyone's involved in something. And to be chosen out of a group of talented performers, to be trusted to go in there and get the segment over that they were looking for, was pretty surreal. And yes, I was able to take it in because the referee of the match was Sean Bennett, someone that started training at the same school with me, a year or so after I started. So it was very calming to have that experience and that moment being in there with a close friend.
That's really cool, to have that connection.
It's something I will always cherish. We still keep in touch on a daily, not, I wouldn't say daily, but maybe weekly basis about different things. So grateful to still have him as a close friend.
Yeah, and that match technically ended in a no contest. So you're undefeated on Monday Night Raw.
I never even realized that. So wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I had to look at the history books and see if I'm the only undefeated independent wrestler on Monday Night Raw.
That's, there you go. A fun fact that nobody knew. Now they
Yep.
do.
I can throw a fun fact your way if you guys are into it, piggybacking off of that Raw piece.
Of course, sure.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not exactly 100% sure if it is now with the way that there's so many talents that are back and forth between Impact and doing AEW, but I know for a good long period, and again, it may still be fact, that I am one of only two independent professional wrestlers to appear on WWE, Impact, and AEW within a calendar year.
Wow. That's pretty impressive. I know one of them, the other one might be Madison Rain, but I don't think AEW was a thing at that time.
Could I don't know. Could be. But that was kind of pointed out to me, especially at the time when I did all three. It was literally coming out of the pandemic, so there was not as much wrestling around. So again, that could have changed as the world has opened up. But it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool thing in itself.
Absolutely. I mean, just having your name on that list is, a lot of people don't even get to compete for one in their
Agreed.
whole entire career.
Right.
All right. Scooter, you have a question.
Yes.
Don't forget the Burger King question.
James, I'll Burger King your face. Tell us, please, how you came to call yourself the Grizzled Enhancement Veteran?
Yeah, that's what I have my moniker listed on Twitter and Instagram, and it's really more so tongue in cheek, just because I've been around for a minute. So, a lot of the guys gave me that grizzled moniker, and it just for obviously most of my career as a journeyman, and a lot of times journeymen are enhancement talent. So being that I've been around for a minute, it's just one of those things that I was just playing around with my head, trying to come up with a funny Instagram name that might catch people's eye, and that's kind of just how it came to be, throwing a bunch of different names around.
All right. I love that. We love tongue in cheek here on Wrestling With. All right, James.
A little bit, we got to laugh more as a society and not take too much too seriously.
Exactly.
Oh,
James.
Yeah. Could you tell us about the Diary of a Messiah?
Yeah. Again, when you are in your own head and you're stuck inside the house with nothing to do, you can't work, you can't train for wrestling, you can't be involved in it because everyone is on lockdown. Just kind of a way to keep my name out there throughout the pandemic, with really not a lot of wrestling going on, and trying to get my name in other people's minds and vision. Um, just started wanting to talk about different topics that were very heartfelt. And it only lasted a few episodes. I wanted to film a heck of a lot more, but my job went from furlough back to work again, so was not able to dedicate the time to film those.
Okay. Because it kind of seemed like the first couple, at least the first 7 episodes, was kind of like a master class, so to speak, of, what to do, what kind of teaching young and upcoming wrestlers the do's and do nots from the experiences that you've had in your career.
Correct, and that was the entire viewpoint of that, was finding a way to kind of give back to the wrestling business a little bit, and whoever sees it, and maybe some already know it, some don't, and maybe for some it's just a refresher. But yeah, it was just a way to keep my eyes and my name out there while just trying to do something different while we were all kind of stuck indoors. And funny to think that this was 2 years ago, and man, what a difference.
Oh, for sure. And the one that really caught my eye was the relationships in pro wrestling. Cause they teach you how to bump, they teach you how to cut a promo. They don't necessarily teach you the personal side of things, and
Mm-mm.
it's usually kind of hush hush. But it was kind of cool that you went in depth about relationships in pro wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, again, you not afraid to talk about different topics, but at the same token, like you said, a lot of what is taught at a wrestling school is mostly in ring. I don't think there are as many schools out there that are teaching a lot of the outside of the ring either, or how to handle different things and
The
um,
etiquette, if you will.
etiquette. So it to me, I think really going in a personal direction needs to happen because sometimes what we do, like I said, can't be taught inside the ring, and you need that advice, kind of like a big brother, big sister, effect.
Oh, for sure. Do you
Yeah.
think we'll ever see the return of Diary of the Messiah?
Yeah, I would love to do it. I just need to find the time and really dedicate to doing it and being able to push out, multiple episodes, once a week. I would love to do it with a guest. Who knows? You never know. Um, I can say not right now, but then I might turn around tomorrow and record an episode. So you never know. I guess stay tuned. That's probably the best way to put it.
Oh, no. Alright, Skittle, you have a question.
Yes. Well, James, why don't you ask this, and then I'll follow up.
Okay, I got you. Can you tell us about being in a wrestling video game? I believe it was Wrestling Code by Virtual Basement.
Yes, I haven't seen a lot of what's going on yet. I just recently filmed some motion capture, and the rest still needs to be taken care of. But
There goes my question.
really cool experience to do motion capture like that, and then to be able to see my image, on screen moving exactly the way that I move and running the way that I run is it's pretty it's far out there. Yeah, I would say it's probably one of the really more cooler things I've done in professional wrestling.
Okay. So it is confirmed you've done your motion capture work.
Mm-hmm.
They had some news last, I think it was last week, well, Gamescom, I believe. Maybe it was a Gamescom, I'm not sure. But the reason the game is taking as long as it is because they are literally going up and down, at least New England into the Mid-Atlantic, and literally capturing as many people as possible, including Zach Gowen, without with one leg and all, which is absolutely amazing. To know that you're going to be in a video game that you're not just create a wrestler,
A passion
that
project.
that. Do you feel that in a way that almost kind of gives you a weird sort of immortality that Shawn Donavan will live forever inside the virtual basement, which sounds like a weird kidnapping movie. I apologize, but again, that's gotta do so much for uplifting and just be such a positive achievement, wouldn't it?
I would say so. I've never thought of it in that light, but yeah, I guess when I'm long gone, somebody gets a hold of this game. I guess yeah, I will still live forever in at least in a virtual world.
Well, we all might be living in a virtual world pretty soon, quite honestly, but that's a different topic for a much different podcast.
I took my blue pills today. Alright.
James.
can you tell us about training with Katsuyori Shibata and the New Japan Dojo, the LA Dojo?
Wow. Frightening, intense, but also very demanding and compelling is probably the best words that I would use. On one part of my brain, now that I did it, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. And on the other side, I'm glad that I did it because it helped me step up my game as far as intensity and aggression and just a different way at looking at psychology of of what we do.
Really, it was that intense?
Yes, every single day we would warm up with stretches for about 20 minutes. And then we would go into intense warm-ups that some days would include upwards of 500 or 600 squats, 200 push-ups, 40 or 50 rolls, and then we'd go back to stretching again, or we would do fireman's carry squats or wheelbarrow push-ups. Just very, very grueling and intense. Where some would say that they're trying to break your will, but in reality, the moniker of the LA Dojo is fighting spirit, and that's what they were trying to bring out of us at that dojo. It wasn't necessarily to break us down; it was to build us to where you don't give up, and when you're feeling intense physical pain, using your mental aptitude to push past it.
Okay. You have a question.
So, just a little tongue-in-cheek joke here. Would you give any credence to Max Caster's words at Forbidden Door in regards to Shibata?
Oh man, love Max. I would say no comment.
Okay.
I plead the fifth.
All right.
By the way, Max Caster is one hell of a dude. Great guy. We actually had a fun 20-minute birthday party match very early on in his training at Creative Pro Wrestling, and they had some extra people for a birthday party. I wasn't doing that day, so I jumped in a car with a few guys, and yeah, we had a very fun 20-minute match in front of I think 5 or 6 people. But had a hell of a fun time. Max Caster is one hell of a talent.
Do you remember when this was? What month?
I have no idea what month it was, but I believe the year was like 2017.
Was it in the summer? Was it July?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, because I think the garage door was halfway open. So.
Okay, there's a good chance this might have been. There's a good chance my nephew might have been at that party. But it wasn't in New York, was it?
Yes, it was. It was at the New York Creative Pro Wrestling Academy.
We're gonna have to ask him about it. All right. We love the legends here at Wrestling With, and given that he just went through some major surgery, well, depending on who you talk to, it might be major. I'd say losing a limb, regardless, is major. Can you tell us about the impact Terry Funk has had on your career and continue to have?
Yeah, watching wrestling growing up, I was so enamored by all the different crazy personalities, but when I first got access to Terry Funk, like it just gave me a whole different outlook on professional wrestling and how we can add different layers of our personality out. and still be revered as an incredible performer. He was just so versatile, and I literally could grasp onto everything that he was doing in his era was not the norm. So I kind of love taking that same piece and bringing it to today's style, where what I do is not the norm to what most indie matches are. I think I'm one of very few that have this type of unique style, where it is a mixture of today, but we're still factoring that old, 70s, 80s, and early 90s style back into it. So, that being said, Terry Funk was a major star in every single one of those eras, and beyond entertaining, but could actually wrestle inside the ring. And then he could be a brawler. He could be a crazy man. He could make you feel compassion. The man literally checked every single box and every single layer of what a professional wrestler should be. And I've just loved studying him and continue to study his work today.
You had Ringtail made, you had Terry Funk inspired Ringtail made, correct?
Correct. Yes, I have two variations. The most common one, which is the red, black, and white striped, and then I have a pair of yellow, gray, and white. So every now and then I break them out for fun matches, and just act like a horse's ass inside the ring, like Terry Funk did.
Do you ever break out any of Terry's old promos for inspiration every now and again? I'm speaking, I think, specifically about the forever promo.
Yeah, I've taken a lot from Terry's promos. When to speak low, when to turn on the intensity. Just kind of mimicking a lot of what he did with his eyes and his body language. To me, it's finding what the next quote unquote forever might be. But I have definitely taken inspiration from Terry and promos. Every time I find new ones up on YouTube that pop up, I'm always amazed at his range. So,
You ever call somebody a Yankee bastard?
I have not, and especially in the society that we're in now, I think I will forever retain, refrain rather from calling anybody that one. Definitely worked for its time, but definitely does not fit into societal standards today.
Oh no. I think that brings us to our next segment. Shawn Donovan's Bizarre Adventure. You're a pro wrestler that goes up and down the road. Weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
Oh wow. Yeah, I mean, the probably the most fun road story involves one of my best friends who still owes me money. But I was headed to an event in New England area with a couple of guys, including one of my best friends in Falaba, and we made the pit stop at a rest stop, and we both go to use the lavatories, trying to keep it respectful here. And I'm literally pulling my zipper down, and out of nowhere, Falaba, all 400 pounds of him, does a running splash on me at the stall. My head goes directly into the wall, and he chips my tooth.
Oh my god.
So I got knocked loopy for a moment. There were some police officers that were there that heard the commotion. because when I came to and realized what my buddy did, I was trying to fight him. And the police officers that came into the restroom, one of our other buddies pulled them aside and said nothing was happening, that I was just off my meds. Needless to say, there was the rest of that drive to the event and back home and in between, I don't think one word was said between the three of us. And when we later talked, and here we are 4 years later, and yeah, he still owes me money to fix my tooth because my insurance wouldn't cover it.
Why did he splash you?
He was just pulling a rib, which is what we all do to pass the time. His was a little bit more violent and creepy.
Take a stinger splash, James.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all. That's all I'll say.
All right. Tudor, you have a question.
Yes. Tell us about your hatred of Valentine's Day.
Wow, man, you guys are digging deep here. I don't know. I've just, always felt that there shouldn't be just one day out of the year that two people in a relationship all of a sudden value each other for 24 hours, and then the next 364 days, it's always going to be good days and bad days. But why does that only have one day a year where you celebrate that? So to me, and just being kind of cynical, being in the world that we're in, where everything is a work, as they say, I think Valentine's Day is a work. It's just a way for flower and candy companies, for some reason, whatever the connection is, for them to make excuse my French, a shitload of money for one day out of the year. Why we're the ones buying into the agenda, so to speak. So yeah, that's kind of my take on why I hate Valentine's Day and any of those cynical holidays.
Has any of these philosophies ever worked on one of your significant others?
What do you mean by that?
Uh, have you ever gotten out of doing Valentine's Day with a girlfriend because she said, "You know what? You got a point there."
Yeah, I've done the whole Valentine's Day dinner, but it doesn't, make it that one day special because, my significant other and I are always taking time out to go have dinner or do things together, like relax at home in front of the fireplace and just having that quality time. So if people just only make that attempt once a year and then don't do it, then to me the holiday means nothing if you're not celebrating it all year round.
That's great to hear. I think you might have a rival in Love Doug down the line. Um, that being said, can you tell us about a Frenchie named Roman?
My right hand man. Yeah, he's my little man. He is a little over two. Yeah, he's about 2.5 years old at this point. You look at animals, and I'm an animal lover. And my significant other and I have always loved French Bulldog breeds, but they were and still are very expensive breeds. You don't ever find them up for adoption, and it just so happens that one did go up for adoption, and it was literally right around the corner from where we lived, and reached out to the owner. Went to see the dog. The dog took to us more than anybody else that interviewed with him, and rest is history. We were able to rescue a dog in a way that, if the owner couldn't, find someone to take over the dog, he was going to have to, bring it to a shelter. And just being able to have fun and adopt a pet. I've always had cats my whole life. So, getting a dog was a different change. And, I'm loving it because there's just more of a personality there. And, he's just a really fun, loving animal who has ADD. But yeah, it's fun. I love showing that side on social media because I think that you always have to let people in just a little bit, and to let people know that we are we're independent performers, but we are people too. So we're not always the exact persona of what you see on screen.
And he has his own Instagram account as well, yeah?
Yes, and it has not been updated for a while, and that's on me. I've got a lot of footage that I need to go back and start putting back up again.
Okay. Scooter, you have a question.
Tell us about your love of comic books and specifically the X-Men.
That is correct. Comic books were so prevalent when I grew up in the 80s, and I read Incredible Hulk, I read X-Men, I read Spider-Man, but just for some reason always took to the different personalities of the X-Men, and just loved the way that the theme was. And anytime there are conventions related to Marvel, I always try to do my best to attend and just have fun with it. Comic books were kind of like a way out for me when I was a kid because it allowed me to kind of take my mind into a different place because I was, a very overweight child and I got bullied a lot. So, comic books were, were one of my escapes, and it allowed me to kind of venture off into my own mind and, kind of create some confidence for myself.
Oh. Who was your who would you say is your favorite favorite X-Men, and then favorite I guess we could just say MCU character.
Sure. I actually have two equal favorites on the X-Men, was Wolverine and Cyclops. And then every now and then I did like Nightcrawler. But
those are some fun picks.
Nightcrawler is a very underrated character in the X-Men universe. But as far as the Marvel universe, my favorite character, wow, I'd probably say Thor.
Who wouldn't love Thor? Quite honestly, I mean, whew. All right.
Well,
And James.
Yeah, you keeping on the X-Men, your prized possession is a first edition comic book, correct?
Yes, that is correct. At one point, I had a complete run of X-Men number 6 through, I think it was 290 or 291. And all were in literally near mint to mint condition. And I never was able to find and get a hold of X-Men number 1. And now there's this company that is called Christie's Auctions, which mostly deals with paintings and furniture. But
Christie's,
back in the day, they they were doing sports memorabilia, comic book memorabilia. So came up with a thought that what if I took a chance and consigned that run of X-Men comic books to them, auction it off, and then whatever I made, I was going to pocket and put towards whenever I could find an X-Men number 1 And eventually I did find it through a different auction house, and the money I made from that run paid a decent portion of getting hold of this edition that's graded.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Those those comic books are like, what's a good way to say it? They're so rare at this point.
Oh,
It's hard to get your hands on them.
Correct.
It's
And
like,
most people who have them are holding on to them because of the increased value over the last 20 years for specific brands of comic books.
for sure.
yeah, with everything going digital,
Hmm?
soon there aren't going to be number one print issues of anything anymore. And if there are, it's probably going to be a very limited, first come, first serve, or, where someone ends up, getting all of them within the first, 30 seconds, something like that.
Right.
It's, yeah.
Well, keeping on, your love of things, can you tell us your love of Voltron?
Yes. Very similar to comic books. Again, growing up in the 80s, which to me I thought was the best time for cartoons. Um, just so happened that I was watching cartoons one day as a kid and I saw Voltron. And again, I kind of said earlier, I was bullied a lot as a kid. So having that escape through favorite television, shows and comic books, Voltron really stuck to me because there was always a positive message buried somewhere within the actual episode itself. Um, and just didn't realize it as a kid that those episodes gave me a lot of confidence to stand up to being bullied and to defend myself. And, I've just always loved that brand and what it represented. And so, yeah, that's my love of it. I've got a tattoo of it, and one day I'll finish the entire tattoo off, but we'll do it in segments.
Alright, Skiddo, you have the colossal question.
Yes, this is Kaliko's colossal question in honor of our third uh, co-host on Wrestling with Kaliko Yachts. We like to compare careers, professional wrestling careers, to as if they were great films. And every great film has a great soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
What are 3 to 5 songs that we would find on the soundtrack to the Shawn Donavan wrestling career movie?
Wow. That's a very unique question. I've never thought about that. See, so one would definitely be a what is the band? Heat. And there is a song that they have that is called "One by One." Um, and then I would think the other one would be a band called Airborne, and I'm trying to remember the name of the song. Yes, it's called "Back in the Game." Um, and then, yeah, I can't necessarily think of a third one, but those would be definitely two songs that I can think of that would definitely be on this track.
Well, we could come back to that question.
Yeah.
I could ask another question and we could come back to it. Give you some time to think.
Yes.
And the next question, a controversial one to say the least. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
I enjoy it. I'm not one of those haters. I have a very interesting palate. I like to try different things. And every now and then I do enjoy a slice of pizza with pineapple.
Alright. What's your spirit Pokemon?
What is my what?
Your spirit Pokemon.
Honestly, I cannot answer that question because I don't think I have ever played Pokemon ever. Just was never a game that I resonated with, so I unfortunately could not tell you what my spirit would be.
How about, let me rephrase the question. What Voltron character do you identify the most with?
Uh, Probably with Pidge. In reverse, Pidge was the smallest one, and while I wasn't necessarily the smallest one in size, I felt like the smallest one mentally, and that no one, would ever take my idea seriously. And that's how Pidge was kind of presented in the Voltron universe. He was a smart know-it-all, but didn't really know a thing.
Alright. Um, Weirdest question you'll ever be asked on a wrestling interview. Would you ever consider wrestling a Raw? Not Dwayne Johnson, Scooter.
Not the country.
In actual Raw.
Can you repeat that? I'm not understanding.
Would you ever consider wrestling in actual physical Raw?
A little bolder.
Oh, a rock?
Yes.
Well, if I could learn like Ric Flair could wrestle a broom, I'd wrestle a rock any day. If I can make it look good.
Just for context, there's this wrestler named Psycho Mike that wrestled an actual Raw for 15 minutes in a Tungsten Man match, an Iron Man match that lasted for 2 weeks.
Very interesting.
And of course, on the show, we love Tracy Smothers. Do you
Mm-hmm.
know the acronym for THUG? THUG.
I do, and I'm picturing it right now, but I, for some reason, cannot fathom what the words are.
Scooter?
T is for terrible. H is for hell. U is for ugly. And G is for jail, 'cause a thug can't spell.
Yep, that is tremendous.
Yeah, we love Tracy on the show, trying to keep the memory alive.
Absolutely.
Have you thought of an extra song?
Let's see. Um, I would venture to say the song is titled Excitable by the band Def Leppard.
Def Leppard. Nice. Being a child of it's the second half of the 80s. I'm as old as WrestleMania, so I'm I'm somewhere between, or like on the cusp of Gen X, Millennial.
Hey, those are three solid songs that you picked. Do you lock it in?
Do I what?
Do you lock it in?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Um, well, I would always love to say that I would love to still be performing in 5 years, and I absolutely would. I don't know what'll happen in the next 5 years, as my body continues to get older. But I think if I keep myself in shape, I would love to still continue wrestling as much as I can. But I really enjoy venturing into the world of coaching professional wrestling, and would love the opportunity to work as a coach or as a producer for any of the major organizations if there's an opportunity.
Alright. And is there a match that people should go out of their way to see that shows off what Shawn Donavan is all about?
Yeah. So kind of give two versions. I did wrestle Anthony Bowens at an event for Wrestle Pro where went about 15 minutes and we went real heavy. So that's definitely one match if you're looking to see my wrestling capability. And then I did have a dog collar match out in Alaska with former Ring of Honor star LSG. Um, and that match was pretty brutal in itself. So that kind of really displays, my brawling capabilities. So I would say those are the two matches that kind of really display two unique sides of Shawn Donovan.
And can we find these matches on YouTube?
Yes, they should be uploaded to my YouTube page.
Perfect. I will add those two specific matches to the description of the video below, put on YouTube and Castbox. For anybody that hasn't seen it, wants to see it again, after this interview.
Thank you.
And since we are nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is our speed round, our bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready, Shawn?
Sure, let's go for it.
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
Say that again?
Greatest wrestler of all time.
Terry Funk.
Worst wrestler.
Worst wrestler. Probably Iron Mike Sharp.
Your main event being WrestleMania for the world title. Who is your opponent?
Again, I have to go with the GOAT, Terry Funk.
If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Ooh, wow, that's a really good one. Who did I really love as a kid? Really love the original Heart Foundation and the Rockers themes.
Those are 2 pretty good ones. Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is
not dead.
We also would have accepted is quite good on toast.
squash. Fruit or vegetable?
Squash?
Yes.
To me, it's a vegetable.
It is indeed a fruit.
Interesting.
Tomato latte. But you are now officially a part of Squash Squad. People who believe that squash is a vegetable. New Japan wrestler Taichi, his ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
I absolutely have no idea.
Give me a number.
What is my range?
Yeah. Give me a number. Give me easy, medium, hard.
7?
There you go. And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
No.
And that is the correct answer. That will conclude this interview. Thank you so much, Shawn, for coming on and doing this with us.
Thank you very much for having me. A lot of it was an interesting conversation. Not questions I get all the time. So thanks for keeping me on my toes.
Absolutely, we try and keep it interesting for our guests.
There you go.
And once again, where can we find you on social media and merchandise?
Sure. Merchandise, you can find me at prowrestlingtees.com/Shawn Donavan. Facebook is just Shawn Donavan, and then you can find me on Twitter or Instagram at Shawn Donavan01.
And of course, all of those links will be in the description in the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox, simply click the link and the tab will appear, but on any device you're using, you have no excuse. You've been listening to him for just a little over an hour. Buy a damn sure. Um, if you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, but on YouTube and Castbox, tell a friend. That's how we people find us. Um, you can always, of course, this is sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. Join us next Tuesday and Wednesday for another incredible interview. And stay tuned to our Twitter feed for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, etc. At Wrestling with E, both on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me at James3993. You can follow Kaliko at I am Kaliko. And where can you find Scooter?
As always, find me on Twitter at ScooterDust. Find me, James, and Ryan Dust hosting the Remix on YouTube, a premium audio companion experience for all your WWE premium live event needs in terms of alternate commentary, and of course, revel in my Twitch antics along with Rico Constantino Jr. and the rest of the Smoking Dragons clan, twitch.tv/Smoking Dragons.
Alright, Sean, when I say wrestling with, you say entertainment, okay?
Sounds good.
For always special guest Shawn Donavan, Kaliko Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with
Entertainment.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.